It's become the subject of much debate recently. Accusations by the opposition Progressive Liberal Party that bail offenders who are wearing the electronic monitoring devices are able to evade detection by using foil wrap to compromise the devices. The government has maintained that none of these persons were successful in getting away. Tonight we hear from the CEO of the company responsible for the program. Clint Watson has the story.
Those reports are, again, like I indicated briefly, false. And I'll go further, baseless. All of the systems are working perfectly or well.
CEO of ICS of the Bahamas Company Limited, Stephen Greenslade, says those public assertions that the electronic monitoring of offenders program has encountered glitches and failure are absolutely untrue. In fact, he maintains that the program was successfully implemented and continues to prove successful. Regarding the use of foil paper by a small number of offenders, he says the appropriate protocols were followed and some 30 offenders were arrested, returned to court and remanded to prison.
When they used the foil paper, we realized immediately that they were tampering with the device. We followed the protocols, and eventually they were arrested. We wanted to see exactly what was going on with these signals of tampering. We reported the information to the police, and collectively we made our observations and determined the levels wasn't extreme.
And don't think evading capture will be that easy. The sophistication of this room makes that process next to impossible.
ICS have recently purchased and installed more equipment that will help us navigate the use of foil paper or any such apparatus used to distort signaling and tracking of an offender, should he decide to tamper with the device.
3 months after implementation, the bail program moved from the flexi strap for low-risk offenders to the tough cuff, reportedly a more difficult device to tamper with for serious offenders who were put on the program. 20 skilled professionals monitored 315 offenders over the past 14 months, including 23 on bail for murder. 230 are from New Providence, 73 from Grand Bahama, 9 from Abaco, 1 each from San Salvador, Eleuthera, and Exuma. 10 were revoked because of breach. 60 successfully completed the program and were released. 3 died. 5 females are on the program, and to date, EMC has assisted police with over 80 criminal investigation matters.
With this system, we don't have to go looking for them. We know where they are. Their complete profiles entered into the system and assigned to their particular device. In most cases, they're given a curfew, and their range of motion is in some cases, limited with an inclusion zone or an exclusion zone. So if they're not home by 6 o'clock, or if they're on Paradise Island and they should be in South Beach for 6 o'clock, we'll notice that 6:30 they're still on Paradise Island, so we start communicating with them.
There are currently 235 offenders being monitored on the system. Now, the company tells us that since implementing this system, they've seen a significant impact in crime. Clint Watson, ZNS News.
Kofi Goodman, the man accused of kidnapping, sexually assaulting and killing 11-year-old Marco Archer last September, is expected back in court tomorrow before Senior Justice John Isaacs. At that time, it's expected that a date for trial will be set. 36-year-old Goodman, who also goes by the name Elvardo Ferguson, is also accused of forcibly detaining and sexually assaulting a 12-year-old boy last August and having unlawful sex with yet another 12-year-old boy last March. Goodman is on remand at the Fox Hill prison. From the Keith Carey murder trial, the ex-girlfriend of accused murderer Jamal Clinton testified in court today. Chantel Humes told jurors she was with Clinton up to 9:45 a.m. on February 26, 2006. The same morning, Carey was gunned down and robbed while on his way to make a deposit at the Bank of the Bahamas on the Tonique-Williams-Darling Highway. Humes said she and Clinton caught a ride with 2 other men from Clinton's house, stopped to pick up a friend, and that she and that friend were then dropped off at their workplaces. Humes said she didn't see Clinton anymore that day, although she spoke to him around 8 o'clock that night. The trial continues before Justice Roy Jones. Women around the world paused to observe International Women's Day today. Prime Minister Ingram sat with the female candidates of the Free National Movement today, telling them that there are still areas where Bahamian women are falling behind. As we hear from Shanique Miller, the focus locally is ensuring that Bahamian women know that they can do and be anything they want to be.
They're dubbed the Fine Nine. But there's more to the Free National Movement's female candidates than pretty smiles. On this International Women's Day, they're all lobbying for a variety of women's issues.
We as women need to come forward and offer ourselves as candidates and show to the world, especially as the Bahamas has been named a place, one of the best places for women to live, that we are important, that we have an important contribution to make. And I would encourage females to work hard at what they do, especially the younger women, and to know that we can lead this country.
Well, it's important for the young women in our society to recognize the importance of what they have to offer this country as well as the world.
As a married woman as well as a mother, I find that oftentimes a lot of us tend to think that we're just homemakers. Many women don't think outside of that, and I would like to encourage our women out there to believe in themselves and know that they have so much to contribute to our society. I do believe that the men are the head of the household and that we should always encourage them to do that, as well as they should encourage us to go beyond the household.
The focus for me and the focus for women in the Bahamas in general, I think, should be how we can work together to build stronger communities and build a better Bahamas.
Between sessions of Parliament, party leader Hubert Ingram took time to lunch with the women who would lead women's causes for his party and government. He says he's always believed and pushed for women to have the same advantages that men primarily enjoy.
There ought to be no discrimination against women in any form whatsoever. And in government and in politics, I've sought to advance that course. We still have a couple of challenges to overcome, but we've made tremendous progress over the years in this regard.
Still, Ingram says there are areas where women are unfairly lagging behind. It's something he tried to change in the lead-up to the 2002 general elections, the issue of equality when it comes to marriage and foreign spouses.
I want to say to my female candidates that we fully expect that they will help to advance the cause of women further in the Bahamas, so that eventually there will be no difference in law, in the Constitution, between a male and a female. I can't countenance why my son should have an advantage over my daughter. Just like I can't countenance why a married woman ought to be discriminated against and a single woman not, with respect to the passing on of their nationality.
This election cycle, women make up 25% of the Free National Movement's slate of candidates. Ingram says as long as he's in public life, he will continue to fight to ensure that women in the Bahamas enjoy the same rights as men. Shanique Miller, ZNS News.
Executives of the National Congress of Trade Unions are doing their part to educate the public about the women's suffrage movement, primarily as today is being observed as International Women's Day. Today, the NCTU mounted a half-day seminar disseminating information as the suffrage movement celebrates its 50th anniversary here in the Bahamas. Area school children comprised a large percentage of the audience. NCTU President Jennifer Isaacs-Dotson says despite the advancements of women, there is much more to do.
We feel that it's still important that we be a training ground for young women in the trade union movement, and we empower more women to take not only roles in the trade union movement, but in our country. And that's again what I'm saying, where the decisions are being made is where we need to have a 50-50 gender balance. And we know from right now in Parliament how many women are actually sit or are elected as members of Parliament. Women are still underrepresented in so many areas. Women are still not paid the same as men in many jobs. So even though we have gained some things, we gained the right to vote in 1962, but yet there's still other things that we need to gain and to be equal in the same as men.
Also addressing the audience was Deputy Treasurer of the Bahamas Government Treasury Department, Donna Delancey. She encouraged women to go after their entitlement.
I look at this as an opportunity to encourage our women of today to emulate the passion and the determination and the focus of our predecessors in terms of promoting social, economic, and political issues that affect us as women as a whole. It's also an opportunity for the students the female students to recognize that they have a place in society and that they shouldn't sell themselves short.
His Excellency Joseph Beck, Ambassador of the Federal Republic of Germany, today presented his letters of credence to the Governor-General, His Excellency Sir Arthur Folkes. Ambassador Beck pledged to preserve and promote the good relations between his country and the Bahamas. Sir Arthur Folkes embraced Ambassador Beck's pledge to improve ties to further stimulate investment to the mutual benefit of both countries. The brief ceremony took place at Government House. Their mission is focusing on the youth of the Bahamas and a future filled with possibilities. The youth arm of the Three National Movement, the Torchbearers, is rebranding itself after changing leadership recently and is doing its part during the 2012 election campaign to ensure the FNM party's message resonates with young voters. Royanne Dean and newly elected President Francesca Placaris.
This event will bring together young people from many of our constituencies. This is a day where we can all come together and have a good time. We will show that our generation is poised to rise and be competitive and prepared for the world stage.
We want to engage and connect with other young people, to give them a place to interact with each other in a healthy way and to build a sense of community and togetherness.
On Saturday, Torchbearers will host Ignite Your Future basketball and dance tournament for youth. The family event seeks to provide a positive forum for youth and the entire family to enjoy wholesome activities at the Kendall Isaacs Gym. The event is set for between the hours of 3 and 8 p.m. Meantime, Youth, Sports and Culture Minister Charles Maynard says his parliamentary colleagues and even some new candidates will be challenging the Torchbearers to a match. Meantime, Maynard says the youth organization provides a vital link for the party to connect with residents.
In a lot of cases, sometimes you find a disconnect between young people and the actual political system. But when they see their peers and when they're able to discuss issues that they believe that we may not be able to relate to, we're able to bring them into the conversation and we have better dialogue. And so I found them to be very helpful in my campaign, and I really appreciate their service and their efforts.
Young people would like to be heard, and the Free National Movement is the government that is listening to young people by creating this opportunity society, by having job creation programs and job training programs. Young people like us want to have an opportunity to advance and to succeed, and the Torchbearers are promoting that message, and they believe in that message. We believe in that message, and that's why we're having this event. We want young people to connect and to know that there is a government who cares for them.
Welcome to tonight's edition of the Business Beat, sponsored by Royal Fidelity. Good evening, Bahamas. I'm Altafiz Munnings. Let's take a look at what's making business news today.
Some 30 Bahamians will be employed from the opening of Dunkin' Donuts and Quiznos restaurants on Paradise Island. The local daily reporting that franchise operators, the Myers Group, plan to launch both outlets later this month. Sandals Royal Bahamian about to acquire memorabilia of the February 1965 visit of the Beatles to the Bahamas. The items will be displayed at Sandals' newly refurbished Balmoral Tower. The property already acquired items from the Duke and Duchess of Windsor. The Bahamas Telecommunications Company invested some $100,000 to renovate its Treasure Key Abaco outlet. The local daily reporting that the new Abaco location is just one of 4 stores expected to open later this month with 50% more space. In international business, China intends to extend renminbi loans to other BRICS nations in another step toward the internationalization of its currency. The China Development Bank will sign a memorandum of understanding in New Delhi, India, with its Brazilian, Russian, Indian, and South African counterparts on March 29th. And in regional business, Cayman Enterprise City, the first technological-based special economic zone of its kind in the Caribbean, is now open for business. In January 2011, the Cayman's premier signed a memorandum of understanding allowing the company exclusive rights to develop and operate a special economic zone. Remember, you can send us an email or join us on www.znsbahamas.com or become our friend on ZNS's official Facebook page.
And that will end tonight's edition of the Business Beat, sponsored by Royal Fidelity. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Altaviz Munnings.